Story of Prophet Ayub alayhi salam. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam, or Job in English name, was a descendant of Prophet Abraham alayhi salam and the nephew of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam. Ayub's mother was the daughter of Prophet Lut, and his wife a direct descendant of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. He was sent to preach to the people living in the desert in the northeastern corner of Palestine. He exhorted the people to do good and stay away from evil. As usual with all prophets, very few people believed in him at first, but gradually the number of his followers began to increase. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam has a wife named Rahma. The two live a very happy life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed the Prophet with many sons and daughters. He was a wealthy man and owned a lot of land for farming and animal husbandry. He was grateful to Allah for all the favors bestowed upon him. He always helped the poor by giving them food and clothing. Often he would invite orphans or poor people to eat with him. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam also brought many slaves and freed them. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam is an example of humanity, faith, and fortitude. He suffered a number of calamities, but did not utter a single word of complaint. One day, his vast farm was attacked by thieves. They killed many of his servants and took away all his livestock by force. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam was not saddened by this loss, believing it to be a test from Allah. After some time, the roof of the house collapsed and many of his family members and children died from the rubble. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam was shocked. This man of patience was devastated, especially his wife, who was the mother of his children. This was a heavy blow for her. He reminded his wife to rely on her faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The trial of Prophet Ayub alayhi salam continued. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam became affected by skin disease. At first, he found a red spot on his hands, feet, and back, but within a short time, they spread all over his body. The Prophet tried to treat the disease, but it only worsened. The red spots turned into small sores that festered. The wounds were full of worms. After some time, the Prophet became very thin. His body seems to be just skin and bones. However, the Prophet remained steadfast in his faith in the midst of all this suffering. He did not despair of seek help from others, and remained hopefully of Allah's mercy. His close relatives and even his friends abandoned him. His fake friends attribute the calamities that befell him to his sins. They mocked and belittled him. Only his kind and loving wife remained with him. She poured out her kindness to the Prophet and took care of him in times of need. People began to complain about the foul odor emanating from the skin of Prophet Ayub alayhi salam. So they forced him and his wife to leave the city to find shelter in an abandoned village. The wife of Prophet Ayub alayhi salam did everything she could to look after her beloved husband. She stood by his side in times of great difficulty. In order to feed him, she had to sell her hair. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam was very sad when he learned of this, so he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in humility. Indeed, hardship has befallen me, and you are the most merciful of the merciful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted the prayer of the Prophet and turned to him with mercy. He commanded the Prophet to strike the earth with his foot. The Prophet obeyed the order, and suddenly a spring arose from the ground. He took a bath in the water as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him, and suddenly he was cured. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam knelt and prayed, expressing a deep sense of gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He never forgot his favor, mercy, and love. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inflicted all the calamities on Prophet Ayub alayhi salam by making him lose all his wealth and children. Then Allah tested him again with a severe skin disease for 18 years. As a result of Ayub's faith and passion in Allah, Allah cured his illness, restored youth and health to his wife, and she gave birth to 27 sons to replace those who had died. Allah also sent a cloud that poured gold over his wheat fields, and another cloud that showered his house with golden locusts for 3 days. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Prophet Ayub salam of his suffering as a form of mercy and forgiveness, and made his story an example for people who are suffering. It reminds us to be patient in obedience to Allah until Allah delivers us. Prophet Ayub salam continued to preach, calling for the worship of Allah until the end of his life at age of 93.